All right, guys, Jack here. I want to give you a basic walkthrough of the project. As you can see, we've had a pretty rough time on the field here. Hopefully this will be the last time we disturb this soil on this field. But this really is an opportunity because there's nothing of high value in this pasture. So all this disturbed soil has already been seeded. It'll be seeded several more times before we're done. This was cleaned up and stuff moved here by a bobcat. Little machine sitting over there. Really a caterpillar, but skid steer, but generically called a bobcat in the industry, even though it's probably the incorrect term. But I want to show you kind of what we're doing here. I've got pipe laid out in advance of the students. It'll make everything easier, I think. You can see where the machine hasn't been. There's a lot of surplus bentonite that was kind of left in that area there, and that's really greened up nice. The pond is doing just beautiful. And just showing you what we're trying to do here is basically put in a mini silvopasture, a tree-based pasture. So we have water to there right now. We'll run a pipe underground to here to this feeder line. And this feeder line will have to be actually buried right up to about where that flag is. And you can see right next to the feeder line, there's a wire. That's 10 conductor irrigation wire for solenoids to automate this, and you see this 1/2 inch back feeds to here. So there'll be a sprinkler right to where that flag is, and that feeder will go across right there. From there, that main feeder line breaks this way and this way. Down there for now, it's just going to go down by, there's a telephone pole down there, there's going to be a hose bib down there just to put water down there, and we'll run a pair of wires down there in case we want to ever expand with a single zone of irrigation down there. These are going to be our 5 primary irrigation zones. You can see how this breaks out. Each one of these pipes comes out, and they're not going to be buried all cattywampus like this. They're actually going to be straight and equal distance apart. And following the basic contour of the line, but this is not a contour-driven design. You can see again, that flag right there is where these pipes will come out to. Each of these are 10-foot sticks, a 1/2 inch pipe. They'll have 2 feet cut off them. The 2 feet will become the uprights for the shrub style sprinklers that I've been using here. It works best in our environment under our situation. Each one of these locations will tee off with a 1 inch to 1/2 inch tee. Since this is the midpoint, we'll put a 1 inch hose bib right here, so we'll have water here. We'll have water right there. We'll have water all the way down there as far as actually having a hose bib. And we'll pass through going that way all the way up to the corner, past the last zone. I'll just take you up there and show you. We can't have too many hose bibs. They're easy enough to put in. So this will be another line of irrigation in a berm. The berms are going to be 6 inches high in the center and 6 feet wide. Very, very lightly tapered. As gentle of a taper as we can get. We're doing this more to get some soil to plant our locust trees, and we're going to be planting locusts on a 2-foot spacing. And then at the end of the first season, we'll take half of them out. At the end of the second season, we'll take another half of them out until we end up with them on 10-foot centers. And about the third season, we'll bring productive trees in. As I said, even though I've passed the last zone of irrigation, now we'll go ahead and trench up to about here. We'll pop a hose bib in up here. We'll have 1 conductor of wire up here, actually 2 conductors, 1 for ground, where we could do 1 more zone of irrigation against that fence or something like that if we decide to. It's easy to bury the wire now, so why not do it? This will be the top berm. It'll go right out there by that clump of trees. We'll put a hose bib out there, so we'll have water out in the middle of the field. So when it comes to filling water for the ducks, it'll be easy to do because they're not going to be allowed in that pond. We're going to be putting a small excluding fence down by that pond, and they're only going to be allowed in there a couple hours a day, maybe 1 week out of 3, because the pond is too small to have 150 ducks in it every day. Now, what you're probably wondering is, why are we not doing these on contour? Well, if we did, this one would kind of bend that way, this one would kind of bend that way, this one would kind of bend that way. This is kind of a wonky surface. Well, you can either have form drive function or function drive form. And in this case, we're having function drive form. One of the biggest things I have as a need with the classes we do is to be able to have students come and have a place to park over on this side of the property. This in particular, since it's cross-fenced off from the duck house all the way up and all the way down, and the dogs are locked over there allows students that are coming and going every day during a 3 or 4 day class to be able to have a place to come and go without us having to worry about the dogs getting out. So instead of trying to get on contour for no reason other than to do it just out of spite, since what we're basically doing is doing strip mulching, we're basically doing sheet mulching in strips here to establish these trees following irrigation lines, is by going straight, we can comfortably park 3 cars. I mean, very comfortably. Well, people don't have to worry about banging their doors into each other. So once that field kind of firms up down there, we can go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 cars parked right there. Plus we still have parking there, and we still have parking that'll be available over there. And we'll probably never really need that. I think most of our events will be able to use this space right here up. But that allows us to effectively manage everything and let people park. So contour is great when you're putting in swales and things like that, but not everything needs to be on contour, and you can actually see me do something, well, not quite on contour, though. If you look at the way that this slope is, it's pretty much down that way. So it's not like we're running them with contour so that we're actually, you know, creating an erosive situation. So we think this will work really good. The plan with this field is this is our low value land. This is our Zone 4 really is what it's going to become. And what we don't want to do is spend a lot of time, put a lot of effort or a lot of money into it once we get this establishment phase going. So we're putting very, very hardy trees. Again, locust, our go-to tree. Some other things will go in here too. It'll go on timed automation. That wire I showed you actually runs back into the duck house. We have power there. So there'll be a controller in there. This will be 100% automated. You won't have to worry about it. These trees can survive probably 10 months out of the year without irrigation. So giving them irrigation 4 or 5 months out of the year, they'll really get it going. And we'll get them up and we'll get shade on this field, and then we can really start to kind of develop it again as a kind of small silvopasture. So that's the plan. All these piles you see here are the compost, 30 yards of compost that we brought in from Silver Creek Materials. The truck had to dump it up there, and all of this mess was by the dump trucks coming in to dump this stuff. It was just too wet, and we had to get the material in when we could. We've got it all staged and we're ready to go for Thursday. And we'll show you even during the event. I'll get some videos uploaded of what we're doing and what it looks like.